Episode 20 of the Living Reminders with Mary and Blake is brought to you by the Foxy Hipster Etsy shop. It's a place where you can purchase unique earrings and pins that are customized to any of your favorite fandoms. From John Locke's face to Ron Swanson's glorious mustache, and yes, even Kevin Garvey's beautiful visage. You can have nearly anything you want. Please visit the owner, Amy, at www.etsy.com/shop/thefoxyhipster.
Go ahead. Go ahead and ask.
What?
What I did. What everybody wants to know.
Oh, that's none of our business.
What'd you do? Attempted murder. Mm-hmm. What happened? Well, didn't try hard enough.
From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to The Living Reminders. It's a podcast dedicated to the leftovers on HBO. We're still here, and so are you, so let's talk about Axis Mundi.
Suddenly I'm hit. It's the darkness of the dawn, and your friends are gone, and your friends won't come. So show me where you fit. So show me where you
fit. God, that song's so good. Hi, everyone.
It is good, isn't it?
It's so good. You just want to...
Just want to go along with it all the time.
Yeah. Sing it in the shower. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Mary Larson.
My name's Blake, and I just didn't try hard enough when I tried to kill somebody. Just didn't happen.
That is not the person you want to move next door to. Not even like, oh, I'm kind of sorry for it. I didn't try hard enough. What?
Like, what does that mean, right?
That means I wish I killed someone. That's what that means.
And I wish I did a better job at it. Just
wow. Wow.
Oh, man, sweetheart.
All right, so.
We're back.
We're back, and The Leftovers is back. And we are so excited, guys. We are so excited to start this season. We have a lot to talk about. First off, we're going to be rating each episode. What?
No, nothing.
Oh, you're looking at me like you're confused. And I'm like, we talked about this yesterday.
I know, we did.
I came up with this idea.
And I fangirled all over this idea.
Yes, you did. So
Sorry, go ahead, continue.
We came up with this idea because we have another podcast called Outlander Cast, based upon a show, Outlander, and we rate each show out of 5 kilts because everyone there in the show is Scottish. And
they all wear kilts.
They wear kilts. That's 5 kilts is like the best show ever. So we're trying to think about what we could use for a rating for this show.
And we were like, white shirts? No.
Cigarettes?
No, that's not going to apply as much anymore. We had already talked to Tom Perrotta about that. Then do we do like guns? Do we do like aviate? Like,
it all started to like really Debbie Downer. And I know that this show is Debbie Downer. I've talked about it a lot. Let's do something that is exciting. Let's do something that is a fun, uplifting, kind of quirky thing. So Blake, what is the idea?
Well, the idea, instead of doing something from the show, is we're going to rate it on Damon Lindelof.
That's right.
Whatever his rating is, from like 5 being the Garveys at their best or guest, to 1 being like a stranger in a strange land and Lost. Even, by the way, I actually really liked that episode, to be honest. Remember the one with Jack's tattoos?
Yes.
I actually really liked that one. Oh, we'll say 1 being the Nikki and Paolo episode. How's that?
Of Lost.
Of Lost.
Not everyone who listens to this podcast has watched Lost.
But for the most part, people know the Nikki and Paolo episode.
So 1 Damon.
So what we decide,
it's a terrible episode.
The rating system is a Damon.
Damon.
One Damon is Nikki and Paolo, and 5 Damons is guest. So that's what it is. So my love, how many Damons are you giving this episode, Axis Mundi?
3.5.
3.5 Damons. Tell me why.
So it didn't blow me away.
Okay.
It didn't blow me away, and rarely do season premieres do that for me. So
except Bloodline. Bloodline blew you away.
Oh my God, that one did, yes. But this one, I really juggled with half of it being like, what's going on? What is this intro? And then like 20 minutes later, seriously, what was that intro?
And then after it, what was that intro?
Like we'll talk about this later.
Yep.
And I'm cool with it now. But I was just a little shaken up by it. I'm excited for these new characters. I don't know how I feel about anybody. I never know who to root for in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a solid foundation. 3.5 stars, solid start in the positive light. I'm excited to see where it goes. How about you?
Not stars, Damons.
Oh, Damons. Stop. I know.
All I can picture is little Damon Lindelof faces.
Like half of it cut off. If any of you are good at caricatures, so we might need to talk.
Yeah, or if you're good at like cutting things out of pictures and posting it. I don't know, whatever it is. Cropping. There you go. That's the title
That's
I'm
a
looking
real
for.
word.
Cropping. I know we talked about this yesterday and I was going to give it a 3.5 Damon rating.
Yeah.
But I have gone back on that. I've gone back on it because I watched this episode now a couple of times. And the more that I watched it, the more that I liked it. So it's not perfect. It's still jarring, but this is a 4 Damon episode for me. I'm totally giving it 4 Damons because the opening, while it was freaking bonkers, it was really good. It sets up this tone for the show, like, what the hell is happening? And I guarantee you, we're going to end up coming back to that. Maybe not in the near future, but I think like towards the end of the season, we're coming back to that somehow, some way. And I feel like they put it in there, could be a little pretentious, but it worked for me. For some reason, it made Miracle for me special.
Okay.
And then getting involved with the Murphys and then slowly bringing back the characters that we love, but also introducing us to the Murphys at the same time. I thought it really worked. So 4 Damons for me. Now, the next segment we usually do is what do we forget? But we really didn't forget anything because this is the premiere.
It's brand new.
So
We didn't forget anything. High five. High five.
High five. Hey now. All right. So what do you think, kid? You ready to figure out that title?
You got it.
Let's do it. Let's play Figure Out That Title. All right, so this week's episode, the premiere, was titled Axis Mundi.
Yep.
And you want to know what Axis Mundi means?
I'm going to tell you, Mundi must mean world or earth.
How would you know that?
Because I took Italian.
Hey now, that's wicked smart.
Axis is not Italian.
I think that's probably Latin, wouldn't it be? Axis?
Sure,
why not?
I have no idea. It means the center.
So,
center of the world. What was that Brendan terrible movie? Like Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Yes, Journey to the Center of the Planet or Earth. Yeah, you're right.
It is not that
Brendan
movie.
Fraser is the guy you're looking
Yes.
for. That's who you're thinking of.
So that's what this title said to me, and I was like, oh my God.
No way.
If George of the Jungle, and then what did the frickin' show open up to? George of the Jungle.
No, it wasn't George of the Jungle. It was
George of the Jungle's family.
Oh my God. All right. Ultimately, in the end, Axis Mundi. I'm not smart enough to know this, so I had to look it up. Are you ready for this?
I knew something that you didn't know.
Yes,
Center
you did.
of the world.
Hey now. The Axis Mundi, also known as the cosmic axis or the world axis, in certain beliefs and philosophies, is the world center. My love, you are 100% right. Or it was the connection between heaven and earth.
Oh.
The world's point of beginning.
That's deep.
The image is mostly viewed as feminine as relates to the center of the earth, perhaps like an umbilical cord providing nourishment.
That's disgusting.
It has many forms, but get this, ready? But it may have the form of a natural object, as such like a mountain or a tree, a vine, a stalk, or a column of freaking smoke. What did we see? What did that prehistoric lady see?
Column of smoke.
A big column of smoke. The Axis Mundi, in the end, is every microcosm, every inhabited region has a center. That is to say, a place that is sacred above all.
Whoa.
So, can you imagine this? I mean, everything that was just described, you have seen in The Leftovers, in this premiere. You saw a column of smoke. You saw a baby being born. You see Miracle kind of being the center of the earth, in a sense. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also a literal translation, too. I think the Miracle might be geographically important. it might be this center point that people can relate to in the end, or people that you can get behind or whatever. I think in the end, that's what this means. It's time to reheat the leftovers. Well, my love, where do we start off?
That intro. All right. I really liked those paintings. I used to like those paintings and be like, oh, let me see if I could figure out like all the little secrets in this and who's flying away and who's supposed to be what. And now it's really cool pictures with disappearing people with cosmic 80s school picture backgrounds.
That the glitter everywhere. And I'm surprised we didn't see the lasers pointing out.
And bangs. Lots of bangs.
All right, now let me ask you.
Yeah.
Did it work for you? Does the new intro work for you?
It didn't work for me the first time. It worked for me the second time.
What's the difference?
Hope.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going there. You know, last season, holy crap, was it sad? And just as I said, Debbie Downer. You know?
You know, like the track from Max Richter was beautiful, and like
yes.
it's obviously that it was, but it almost felt like it. Again, I'm going to use this word pretentious. It was a little teeny tiny pretentious. So I didn't mind that they were changing it because it was cool, but like. I never fast forwarded through it. I always loved watching it.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the change so much. But for me, the change to this is not a good one. I just it doesn't work for me.
Oh, see, I think the music is harder for me than the visuals.
Yes.
I like the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And I think it's, of course, I just was thinking back to like 80s school picture backgrounds or you know what it's more like? It's more like the old screensavers that you used to have on your computers where you'd be flying through space.
Yes.
That's what it's like. The music though, it was...
Here, I'll even take it a step further. You ready for this?
Yes.
I loved the visuals. I actually really liked the people disappearing.
That's why I said booby trap.
But what I even liked the lyrics to the song. The lyrics to the song. What are some of the lyrics of this? Some say once you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior, if in sinful ways you lack. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Now this perfectly describes the leftovers. Again, a perfect description.
Yes.
But the execution by one Iris Dement, I'm not sure how to say her name, is from 1992's song, I'll Just Let the Mystery Be. The execution of the song just does not fit the show.
We don't know. This is a whole new season, man.
Yeah, but even from what you have seen, you see, the problem is that the show is still very much the same. It still has that same kind of somber tone. Yes, maybe they've...
I don't even take it as somber. I take it as something's fucked up.
Yeah.
Tone. Not somber, but like things are really supposedly happy and in this town. I like it now. I like it because it is so wrong.
Well, yeah, okay,
it's so wrong of a song like You Are Too Happy. People are disappearing.
Uh-huh. Is it kind of almost like Everything Is Awesome? Where it's like, everything is awesome, and it's a song
but
that...
it's really not.
But within the Lego movie, spoiler alert, they sing this song all the time because that's what they do. But it's really not awesome. Mm-hmm. Everything kind of sucks, actually.
That's how I'm feeling about this. I mean, the words, as you said, the words are spot on.
Yep.
We like the visual. But, I mean, here we are in Miracle. These people are like, they're living the happy-go-lucky life right now, man.
And I don't think that everything is happy-go-lucky. No, I think there's everything. There's a lot of things that are wrong with it. And maybe the song is a good affectation of what's happening because it's being ironic for being ironic's sake, right? It's saying, hey, everything is just great, and it's really kind of honky tonk, and but it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe it works on a certain level.
All I know is that when you tuned into the season 2 premiere of The Leftovers, you were very confused for the first 10 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
not even the opening, because you get that and you go, oh my God, am I watching a happy movie? I don't know what's going on. And then It's caveman times.
Well, let me say this before we move into that real quick. Damon Lindelof actually commented on the new titles for The Leftovers, and he said that while he loved the old titles, they were a little pretentious, but they weren't self-aware. He thinks that the new title sequence is definitely self-aware. It knows what it is. It's tonally more in line with what he wants the show to be, or what the show can be. And as we just discussed, that makes sense. He continued by saying, which is, the song and the show can express seriousness and loss, but it can also express other ideas. It can have smiling faces as opposed to anguished faces, like we saw in the old open. It can have real faces as opposed to painted faces. This doesn't mean The Leftovers is going to change its title sequence every season, but when he first saw the sequence in its nascent state, he knew it was what it should be.
Wow.
So I guess, within that context, it does make sense.
Hey, you can't mess with Damon. Right? If he says it's okay, you better believe it's okay.
All right, now let's get to this opening, the cold open.
Hey, pregnant.
Whoa.
You know what?
What?
I just had a baby like that.
Yeah, you did. It was funny because she was commenting on this because we just had our daughter Felicity. You in previous episodes you've heard our son when he was younger. His name is Reese. He would babble and everything. We called him Godzilla. But since we have come back, we have had another child.
Because that's what I do, guys.
We just have babies. And Mary, maybe TMI, she had a baby in a very similar fashion.
I did not bite off the umbilical cord.
No.
But
no.
I retrieved my baby from my undergarment area, just like that woman. And I had a look of, what the hell just happened? Because it happened so quickly. I liked that scene a lot. I like that she actually left the cave to pee. Look at her being so clean.
I know. You don't
Cave
pee when you
woman.
sleep, man.
She's like covered in serious scars, man.
Right.
Serious scars. Gets out, goes pee. Earthquake happens. I'm going to call it an earthquake right now.
Sure, yeah, I'll go with that.
She can't get her family or friends out because her water breaks and she goes into active, crazy labor. And poor Blake, he's like, whoa, what was that? I've got birth twice now. You would have thought Blake would have known what a water breaking was.
Yeah, but I don't know what the water breaking is like. I didn't know it was that violent. I mean, it was like somebody like popped a balloon.
Yes, that's actually how it feels.
Really? Like
Yeah.
you're like popping up not a mylar, but a rubber balloon full of water?
Yeah.
Wow.
Inside your body.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
What are we talking about here? God.
Giving birth. Then she gives birth, bites that umbilical cord. Oh, but before all this happens, a bird flies overhead right before the earthquake happens.
Yes.
Hawk, maybe?
A hawk, maybe an eagle?
Any of you bird watchers out there, shoot us a message. But some kind of big bird flies. Caw, caw, does a little bird. And
notice that she was wearing the necklace with the bird feather on it too.
Yes.
And as she's looking up at that hawk/eagle, whatever it was, she's holding on to that feather, like she has a connection of some sort.
then she goes on her, voyage to go find people because the bird tells her, "Look at the smoke. There's people over here. You can do it." And she gets bit by a snake, and then her arm is like The Walking Dead. Okay. So, of course someone saves her baby. The big question is the bird a bearer of good news or a bearer of doom?
Yeah, here's the thing. Every time something happened, in something bad, the cave collapsing, that's bad news. Getting bit by a snake and dying, bad news. It feels like this Pavlovian type thing where it is bad. It's a harbinger of
It didn't come
awful.
before the snake.
Sure it did.
It did?
Yeah, of course it did. She looked up, she heard the thing, and all of a sudden, then she heard the snake rattle, and then the snake was on top of the baby. By the way, how uncomfortable were you with this whole baby thing?
Oh my God. I was holding my baby in my hands, and I was like, I can't handle this snake action.
Especially when she's laying down, and the baby's kind of coming out.
Oh, when she was by the water?
Oh.
And yeah, when she was dead and the baby was starting to roll over, I was nervous the baby was going to roll into the water.
I know. And as a mother, does that make you feel uncomfortable?
100%.
Now, okay, what made you feel more uncomfortable? This open or last year's premiere open with the baby in the car seat?
Oh my God. Hey, you're right. What the heck? They're prying on us. New mothers.
I know, right?
With my highly emotional, I don't know. I'm just all messed up. I'm just all messed up.
Well, did this whole cold open work for you? Did it?
No.
It didn't work. Why not? Was it just too much out of the blue?
You know what it was? It was
What?
because I had a new opening and this.
Okay.
Like
so
the
if
new
they had the
titles,
old
yeah.
opening, you probably would have been a little less jawed about
Yeah.
it.
I think I was having tremors, post-earthquake tremors, actually from the new song and the new opening. And I couldn't quite focus on what was going on. And then it opened up to cave people. And I'm like, what the heck? This isn't Miracle, Texas. This isn't, the T-shirt that I have.
Which we do have, by the way.
And
you can get on the Marion Blake store also.
So I had a tough time with this opening. I like it.
Yep.
I like that it's the same water, the same area. I can't wait to know more, but knowing Damon, I might not ever know more, and I'm just going to have to make my own assumptions about this magical little pond.
It reminded me a lot of Prometheus. Remember when Prometheus opened? They had the guy, spoiler alert, he has the black stuff, and they're in front of the big waterfall, and he drinks it, and then he kind of collapses, and he falls into the waterfall, and his DNA breaks down. Do you remember that? It reminded me of that almost, where it was pertinent to what was happening in the movie and in the show, but it wasn't directly pertinent. It was giving you setup for what was going to be important in its own DNA.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it set you up. And of course, Prometheus, written by one Damon Lindelof. So I wonder if this is something that he just does to try to put you in this mindset, like this place is special. Something happened here. Or are we just attaching meaning
That's what
to
I'm
it?
thinking. You know what I mean? It's like, was this woman special? Was this earthquake special? Was this bird special? I don't know. All I know is that water is special because it disappeared at the end of the episode.
Well, here's what Damon had to say about it. He says, by the end of the season, hopefully the debate won't be over whether this scene was necessary or not, but the debate will be about what it meant. A theme that they're really interested in exploring as storytellers is when you ascribe meaning to something. If you're at a red light and the light turns green and you hesitate for a second and a car basically runs through the intersection, your brain essentially says, geez, if I had gone, I'd be dead. Then you go on with your day. But if you do get broadsighted, you are lying there paralyzed for the rest of your life thinking that moment had meaning. So any obvious extrapolation was intentional. An earthquake to a woman in that era is the same as the sudden departure to us in ours. Absent explanation. It can only be perceived as an act of mythic reality, but who is to say that it wasn't? I've been in earthquakes, and they do feel like an act of God. The only word to describe it when it's happening around you and your entire world is shaking is that it's an act of God.
I have been in one earthquake.
Really? When?
It was this year.
Oh, that's right. It's here. We were sleeping.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, yes, in Rhode Island we do have earthquakes, and we had one.
We did.
And we slept through the entire thing. So I guess it wasn't
not a
an
big
act
deal.
of God.
It wasn't a big deal. Okay. All right, Damon. I'll hang with you on that. On that it's something, some meaning.
There is something there, and that's why I'm maintaining.
What are you meaning? Are you feeling that it is a miracle, or are you feeling? I'm feeling that's more about sacrifice.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, whether or not this sacrifice of the mother really plays into this water, and that her sacrifice makes the water some kind of special, I don't know.
It's like Lily Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
When she died, her last thing was to protect her son, and no bad could happen to her son.
Look at you.
This cave woman was Lily Potter. Damon Lindelof is such a Harry Potter fan.
You're a wizard, Harry.
That's right. That's how I explain it. Act of God or act of magic. Okay, so we don't really know how that goes. Let's jump into modern times, shall we?
Oh, please, let's do it.
Swimming in a pond. What pond? The same pond. Okay, Blake and I are not going to go scene by scene.
What a great transition, though.
It was beautiful. Let's talk about these really confusing teenagers. I mean, teenagers in general. Teenage girls in general.
Well,
there were a whole bunch of I don't know what's going on in there.
The good thing is that they weren't angsty. That's the most important thing.
Not
they don't have Kim Bauer syndrome.
Yes. Okay. Swimming around, flirting with some guy who's checking out the water.
Dr. Goodhart.
Oh my God.
They're like, really? That's your name, bro?
Here's my problem with Dr. Goodhart.
Uh-huh.
He's not that smart because he's taking a cup and he's pouring it into a bucket. And he's a pretty strong guy. Why didn't he just dip the whole bucket into the water?
That would make too much sense.
That really was a stupid.
Maybe by you know what it is? Okay, here's the thing. And I will describe. If he puts the bucket in the water, his hands are in the water. And maybe he feels like if his hands or his skin are in the water, they will affect the properties of the water.
I'm thinking it's actually that he's trying to get it from deeper inside the water so that it's not getting different,
it's
contradicting things because of the sand.
In the sun.
It needs to be in the middle of the water. And just walk with your freaking bucket to the middle, dunk it in, you're done. You don't have to be there for a half hour, Dr. Goodhart.
Wear gloves, bro. I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Because he's from where? Australia?
But then again, now we got Evie, which, by the way, a Lost reference because you have Evangeline, Evie, saying.
I was thinking Wally. Eva. Or Eve, first woman.
That's correct. Oh, very good one. Look at you.
That's what I went for.
And going back to the cold open, you have the serpent touching the baby. And Eve, serpent, first sin, original sin.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the other thing, too. Damon Lindelof, I know I'm jumping back, but Damon Lindelof loves this whole idea of babies and mothers and adoption. And you see the baby get taken from one mother and going to another. Just like how Nora has taken Lily, by the way, another Lost reference, Evie, Lily, Evangeline, Lily. She's taken Lily under her wing, just as though this other lady has taken the other prehistoric woman's baby. It keeps happening over and over again. Babies being taken and then put off to somewhere else. Really cool themes, like really, really interesting thematic things happening each time throughout the show.
Deep. Very deep. Okay, so 0 people from Miracle, Texas have departed. It's like the one place in the entire world that 0 people have departed. And it is now an attraction. People are coming. You're not supposed to be touching this water unless you live there. Like park rangers are all about it. These people are really intense with their visitors. You saw them later on in the episode.
Oh, tasing people.
Yeah.
Don't tase me, bro.
Yes, holy crap. And then, my favorite, Dirty Santa. I was, we're going to call that guy, I don't know his name, the gentleman that's up on that pillar that says Miracle, and he was getting fed some nice eggs. I'm calling him Dirty Santa until he gets a name. Okay, just like how we had Mama Hen, now there is Dirty Santa. I don't know how he got up there. I just love it. It's amazing. So we're just in this new adventure, new world.
Well, let's clear up Miracle a little bit because it is a little confusing. So you have the town of Jordan, Texas. It was a town prior to the departure. The departure happens. No one leaves that town. Well, supposedly, no one departs from that town. So close to 10,000 people do not depart. And then people started going to this town to
as just, a pilgrimage.
Yeah, be in it and see what happened and why. And
just feel safe.
And feel safe. And maybe, just maybe, they won't depart in the near future too. So then it got so crazy that the federal government came in and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to declare not only this town, but we're going to declare everything surrounding the town, like a certain radius, as a national park. And we're going to call this national park Miracle. So the town of Jordan, resides within the Miracle National Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
They do not have that big of a fence around it.
They don't got dinosaurs.
They might.
At least that we don't know of.
Hey.
Maybe the prehistoric ladies did.
It's Damon. We don't know. We do not know. Yeah, people come here. They get all this gear, all these souvenirs.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Evie had collected some of that water.
And gave it to her brother.
Yes. And now he's putting it in little jars. How cute is he?
And here's something, too, by the way. If you notice, right before she gives him the jug of water,
She takes a sip.
she takes a sip. Now, I'm not saying that the water is special or not special because I don't know. But that was very conspicuous that
That she sipped it.
Yeah, that she sipped it. And they made it a point to show it,
Yes.
right? And like she was secretive about it. And then at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, she disappears. She departs.
Oh, man.
Right? Like
Yes.
what does that say?
I don't know. I do not know.
Well, you see the brother with all the water. He's
Michael.
Michael is advertising his church, selling the water for any amount that people are willing to give. By the way, on one of the buses, the Miracle buses, the green one, one of the numbers on the bus is a 108.
Oh,
Did you notice that?
Lost.
That's another Lost reference. Really cool. I saw that. I was like, oh my God, 108, it's the number. It's the number. Like, I thought that was awesome.
I'm really excited about Michael, the son.
Why is that?
I feel like I can cheer for him
Why?
because he seems like he has a good heart.
Yeah, he seems like he cares.
I mean, he gives Dirty Santa food.
Dirty Santa.
He goes to the guy whose house is Christmas lights, wants to pray with him. He seems like a pretty nice guy. He likes to ride a bike. All right, I like Michael so far. I think he so far is an okay dude. So he's actually Evie's twin, which is pretty cool. And their dad, John,
who we interviewed. If you get a chance, go back and listen to our interview with Kevin Carroll.
John, he's an interesting fella. Okay?
Not a happy guy. Well, I think he's happy to an extent.
He's complicated, and I'm so excited to learn about him, but I'm really afraid of this guy.
Do you think it's because he's just a bad news dude?
It's not even his dirty history about, trying to kill somebody. It's then how he even acted in this episode with the hand paint guy. Ugh, God, like, what are you doing? What? He had an earring, a cross earring. Don't burn a cross earring guy's house. Please. You know what he looked like? He looked like the son from Cosby Show.
No, you know who he is? He's
Who
the
is
guy
he?
from the Friend, right? Isaac, the Friend.
Yeah.
He is from Family Matters.
Oh, that's who he was. Urkel's the guy that didn't like Urkel, but then did like Urkel.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking. Oh God, it was just like the cross earring, and I was like putting it a little bit further before. But man, yes, Urkel's friend, whatever his name was. Yeah, I that really pissed me off.
And how about when we first meet John? He's fast asleep. I mean, like dead asleep. There is no waking him, and the family starts putting all these books on top of him. And the books, as we mentioned in our interview with Kevin Carroll, they're written by Vladimir Lenin, Nelson Mandela. It's a book called The Road to Terror, which is Stalin's rise to power and what he did to kill all these people to get himself into power.
For anyone who doesn't know these people.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a history geek. Vladimir Lenin was like the first communist leader in Russia. Nelson Mandela was, the president of South Africa. He was in jail for a long time, became
Good
president.
guys, bad guys, what?
Well, Mandela is wholeheartly a good guy.
Yes.
Lenin is not necessarily a bad guy, but not necessarily a good guy either. And Joseph Stalin was Lenin's successor in communist Russia. Most certainly a bad dude. Killed a lot of people. So what
do these books say about him?
Well, ultimately, as we talked about in our interview with him, it was more about John's character and trying to find out who he thinks he is and what he has to do to lead. And he's looking at all these books and taking copious amounts of notes on them, and you can see the little
sticky notes.
The little sticky notes, you can see them. And he's trying to figure out who he is and what he's doing and why he's doing it. And if he's taking, pointers from Joseph Stalin, it's probably not that good. It's probably not a good thing that he is thinking about that. But here's the thing that really struck me. They piled all the books, they did everything, and he's sleeping, and everyone's laughing, everything's very funny, very cute scene. But they put a clock on top of everything. Mm-hmm. And the clock, to me, is indicative of a ticking time bomb. Just ready, waiting, to happen. Just, okay, this guy's going to blow up. Here it is. And then as soon as they put the clock on, everything topples. And my therapist, actually, told me that I live in a world of ticking clocks. And eventually, they go off. And it makes sense to me, for whatever reason, that they put this clock on top of this guy. Eventually, he's going to go off.
I don't want to be near him, but I'm going to watch it.
No, I don't think so.
So he's a fireman. Actually, he's the fire chief. And
Oh, the captain, at least.
yeah.
Because it says captain on his
okay.
on his helmet.
Isn't it like the same thing? Fire chief, fire captain?
No, the chief is a little bit higher than the captain.
Oh, oops. Yeah, and he and his friends, when they're gonna go take care of Isaac's house, I just have issues with him. Okay, so he's reading these books that are conflicting. He has an issue with a cricket. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But at the heart of the matter, in the middle of this episode, he goes and visits his longtime friend Isaac. Gets his hand painted. Isaac's like, yo, man, bad things are going to happen.
And there's this cottage industry now for Isaac. And I think the town of Miracle in general, I mean, they are profiting a lot on this whole thing.
So why does John hate on this? Why does John hate that people are coming to Miracle, are spending their money, helping the economy? What is his problem?
I don't think he believes that Isaac is being real. Like, he ends up saying, you know, he's selling a bunch of lies and people are buying it.
Yeah.
And I think he believes Isaac's full of crap.
Well, even if so, who cares? You make your money doing one thing. I'm going to make my money doing it another way.
I mean, that's a valid point. Unless he just has this really strict moral code for the town. And
well, we obviously know where his morals lie.
But here's the thing. Who appoints John Murphy as the sheriff of this goddamn town, right? Who says to him, if something don't smell right to you,
you can burn it.
Go burn the guy's house down. Here's the other thing, too. Later on in the episode, when Erica, played by Regina King, is talking to her husband, John, about the Garveys, John says to her, hey, these new people moved in. I think we should have them over for the birthday dinner. And she looks at him and says, you're going to work on your birthday?
I know.
Right? This whole idea of working. So it's his job to sum people up. It's his job to seek them out and decide who they are and what they. Why is that his job?
Like, you're right, very like old school sheriff.
And like, why is that his job? And like, we played that clip at the beginning of the episode for you when he was talking about being in jail, and just telling the Garveys straight up about it. It almost seems like a test. It almost seems like I'm going to size these people up to figure out if I got to burn their house down too, right? If these people if they bought the house and they're going to be my neighbors and they're going to be citizens of this town, hey, fine, that's cool. But they're going to have to pass my eye test. And the eye test is telling them straight up, this is who I am. If you don't like it, we're going to have a problem. Let's have it out right now, right?
Oh, God. And then the whole thing when the fire station with him talking to his friends about like how big the fire was going to be. It was going to be 2, 3.
3.5 or 5.
A 5-alarm fire.
Do you think that's what they were referring to?
I do.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that seems to make a lot of sense. Like, because you're not gonna put the guy out of business. You're not gonna like partially ruin his house. A 5-alarm fire would be burn the fucker down.
Well, we got to see what it looked like the next day when Erica was running by it.
That's correct.
And opened a box to a bird. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. That was confusing. We'll get back to that maybe in a future episode or two. Mm-hmm. Damon likes birds. You know, there's been a lot of bird things with him. So I'm not going to delve into that bird thing.
I do wonder, because we do have the bird imagery at the beginning of the episode. Okay, here's the thing. You saw the lady, the prehistoric lady, bite the egg and eat the contents of the egg.
Yes.
I wonder if Erica is keeping that bird there to see if it stays alive. Like if Miracle has properties that keeps the bird alive. Right? Because it's buried underground, right?
Yeah.
Buried underground. There's no oxygen underground. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it was... That bird is... I mean, it's young, but it's still... It's old enough where it wasn't just hatched. And here's the thing, too. There was no egg in there either.
I thought that she found a dead bird.
And she put it back in there.
Yeah, and it came back to life.
Now, that would blow my freaking doors off. if that was the case, if she found a dead bird, put it in a box, buried it, and was like, because she looked up like to the heavens to be like, okay, let's see if this works. Will this work? And she opens it up and boom, there it is. And she was relieved.
No matter what, there was something slightly, for lack of a better word, magical for it going on. And that's what really threw me, is that John was being a jerk and burned down his friend's house because his friend was magical. And here's his wife doing some magic with a bird.
There's something going on here.
It's the leftovers. Of course there is.
And okay, so here's this thing too. Does Erica know what John is doing?
Yep. Isaac went to the hospital and she had to pick out all of the glass in his face. She sure knows what he did. And she
it didn't seem like she had any problem in telling this guy to go pound sand. Like, she defended her husband to a fault, right? Because she's saying, well, listen, to Isaac, if you said you were who you were, you should have seen it coming. You should have known that he was going to come burn your house down. If you can read his palm, you should know. And that's the thing that Isaac does. He reads palms. You saw that when he takes the paint and puts it in there, and you get the palm reading, put it on the piece of paper, and he reads it. And I think he truly believes what he does is real. Here's my question. Because of the departure, right? Does that give magical properties to people on the planet? Like, okay, bring it to Game of Thrones. Things started happening in Game of Thrones when the dragons were born. Like, it kind of brought magic back to Westeros, into the realm. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if the departure works in the same way. Since the departure happened, guys like Wayne get this ability that they don't know about. Maybe it reawakens things in people, right? And maybe the same thing happened with Isaac. Maybe the departure reawakened or awakened this natural ability that Isaac has, and that he's able to read these palms and read people's futures and everything. That would seem to make sense, because John says to Isaac, dude, I've known you since the 3rd grade, and never once have you ever told me that you had this ability. And Isaac never says, yeah, bro, sorry, I held it from you. He didn't even acknowledge it. He just said, look, what I do is real. This is real. So that leads me to believe that he didn't know he had this ability until the departure. And he didn't have he didn't know he didn't have it because it wasn't awakened in him until the departure happened. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that's how it goes down.
Then we get to see some familiar faces.
Finally. Wasn't it cathartic to see Matt Jameson?
It was. Well, especially, I mean, you go a long time in this episode without seeing someone you know.
Yeah, I think you go at least a half hour.
Yeah. So you're sitting there being like, wow, new opening, opens up with Cave Woman, and where's everyone that I got to know and got to love? Oh, thank goodness it's Matt Jameson. He's here. And he's going to be the new Reverend.
Mm-hmm. Well, the sit-in reverend, because
like the temp,
the temp, the interim. Maybe he's like an intern too. He is coming in there just to serve because his friend is the real reverend. The real reverend is going to have hip surgery over in Austin. Matt Jameson is stepping in, and he has decided to stay in Miracle because something is happening with his wife.
With Mary.
Something's happening with her. And he tries to go say it, and the Reverend stops him.
Okay, want to hear my theory about this?
Yes, what is it?
I think the Reverend knows. I think, good things have been happening with Mary. Mm-hmm. I think the Reverend knew that John was in church. Because he even said that later, like, hey, it was interesting to see you out there. I think the Reverend knows. I think the Reverend feels that maybe there's some good things going on, some miracles. And he knows that John doesn't like this. So he didn't want John to now go burn down Matt Jameson's house.
Yes, he doesn't want John to hurt Matt.
Yes.
Because Matt claiming that this healed his wife, Mary, or is beginning to heal it, would be kind of bullshit in John's eyes.
Yeah, and he jumped in
right at the right moment.
Yeah.
And then, that's even confirmed later on when they're meeting up with John, and John's like, hey, Matt, what were you going to say? What were you going to say about your wife?
Yes.
And then Matt, you could see it in his face. You could see like he's reticent to say something because I think with the way that John was talking to him, he knew. He knew if he said something, or because his buddy stopped him, he knew if he said it, something bad was going to happen. So he said, "Oh, we finally feel safe," which I mean, it makes sense. But
I think the Reverend jumped in, saved Matt's butt because he saw John in the congregation.
Oh my God, I love you.
I know.
I love you to pieces. You're so much smarter than me, dude.
Oh, no, I'm not. You know what was really cool?
What's that?
He said Matt's been in Brazil. That's where he's been. You know, after that hellacious burning at the cul-de-sac. Where do you want to go? I want to go to Rio.
Let's
go to Carnival
and just dance off with Tom Brady and Giselle.
That's right.
Dance our asses off.
Sounds fun.
Hey, well, here's a cute thing too. Not cute, but I think it's pointed. Michael is giving the first sermon before all of this happens, right? And he's reading from Thessalonians. And he talks about how you don't do evil to repay evil, all this other stuff. And as he's saying it, he's looking at his dad. And his dad's giving him the freaking stink eye too. Like, why are you calling me out, bro? What's this about? Why you're like that? And then even the conversation that they have later on, it leads to John saying, "Hey, why would you read that like that? Like, what does that mean?" And Michael, whether it's true or not, says, "Well, they're pre-picked." Yeah. And I wonder if that's true or not. But either way,
John's conscience it's getting at him. It's working.
He at least recognizes that the things that he is doing, although maybe he feels the right to do them, he is calling himself out a little bit for doing them to begin with.
John really likes bacon. That is one thing I've learned about him. He wants bacon off of his kids' plates, and he wants his bacon well done and on a separate plate when he goes to a diner. Why? Just because he's ornery. That's one thing I know about him, I think. While he's being a complaining puss about his bacon, though, some guy comes in and slits a goat's throat, and everyone's kind of like, "Oh man, can you not do that again?" Which goes to show you happens quite frequently. Does it happen once a month? Does it happen once a week? Does it happen once a year?
Okay, so going back to our interview, our season 2 lead-in interview with Tom Perrotta, if you get a chance, go back and listen to that. He talks about the people of Miracle constantly doing things that they did on the day of the departure, as like as part of their tradition,
like a suspicion. What is that called? You know, like how you wear the same
superstition.
Superstition.
Okay,
yeah.
So they're being superstitious. So I wonder if John one day ate on the departure day, had breakfast at that place, right? And for whatever reason got bacon on a different plate. And then ever since then, he said, "Dude, I got bacon separate on that plate. What if I have to keep eating bacon separate on a different plate?"
I don't think John would play that game. I think other people do. I think John is totally against all that.
Yeah, I mean,
superstitious stuff.
Is John superstitious? Is he religious? No, I can firmly say that he's not. But I think he is aware. I think he's aware of these things, and he does heed these warnings, right? Because after Isaac's reading, he's in his house, and he drops his spoon in the garbage disposal, right? And you can see his face. He's like, "Oh, dude, something bad's going to happen to me. I was just told this." Now, you and I both know he plays it off like he doesn't give a shit about anything superstitious or what Isaac said or whatever. But when the rubber meets the road, he does not want to put his hand in that garbage disposal.
Nope.
And when he does put the hand in the garbage disposal, he tries getting the spoon out, and it's taken forever, and he can't. Of course, that's building suspension or suspense, and it's building tension for the viewers. But I think that's a little bit more metaphorical for what John's going through, and that's why I think something deep down inside him does kind of believe this whole repetition. He does believe this whole superstition type thing, like, even in the smallest ways, I gotta kind of do the same thing over and over again to kind of make sure that I'm not going to get departed again, right? And I think that's probably why the guy came into the store with the goat. And now I don't know why he goes into the store with the goat. Maybe did he cut the goat's neck at the store? Like, Maybe, I don't know, on the departure day. But here he comes walking in, and everybody just knows it's happening. And they're like, oh, man, not again. Come on, really? And then the lady's like, Enrique, come on, over here.
Clean up on aisle 9.
Clean up aisle 9. You know, like, I thought that was great.
We finally see the Garveys.
Now, as cathartic as seeing Matt Jameson was, this was even better.
And I like that we're calling them the Garveys, even though Nora is not a Garvey.
No, she's not.
And
at least not that we
neither
know
is
of yet.
Little Lily. She's not a Garvey either.
No.
But we see Kevin and Jill and Nora, and it was just so good to see them. I love that Nora was like in country bumpkin attire. Did you notice that?
Yeah. And her hair's like all wavy. It's not perfectly straight anymore.
No, she was like, I'm going to Texas.
She has accepted this role.
She probably got herself some cowgirl boots, started saying y'all. But yeah, they move on in. And the guys have a little interaction. John, of course, picking up his very weird random apple pie.
That gets left on his doorstep, by the way.
Yeah.
And again, it's the superstition thing. It's not knowing. Is it poisoned? And he just doesn't know.
I would be souped if I found a pie on my doorstep.
Right?
I love pie so much. I even tried to make a pie this week. I didn't cook it enough.
No,
So
the
it's
crust
just like-
the crust suffered.
It was like dough and apples. I still ate it. But if someone wants to make a pie for me, I will not think that.
Please send
is
it to our
poisoned.
studio in Rhode Island so that Mary has nice pie.
So the Garveys and the Murphys, they get to have a barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Grand old time.
And you know that something bad is going to happen between these people. You just...
You got a cop and a guy who said, I just didn't try hard enough to kill somebody.
And not only that, the guy's a fireman, too, at the same time. Kevin drinks. This guy's sober. Wait, here is something, too. Damon Lindelof always battles with light and dark. Now, there's the obvious thing that the Murphys are African-American, the Garveys are white. I totally get that. But it's more than that. Kevin is a cop who is, in the end, a relatively good person. They have a good new family, but the Murphys are off. Miracle is off. Something is going on between these two. And like it reminds me of like the backgammon from Lost. Mm-hmm. There are two sides. There's one is light, one is dark. And you have to figure out which one rules, which one wins.
I don't even think it's like that. I think there's a wild card. And I think that wild card is called naked teenage girls. Okay, you got these two families and they've got their own things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the Murphys who've come in and they've just come in from something really, really rough. They're just trying to get by. You got, not the Murphys, the Garveys. I was trying to say the Garveys. The Garveys coming in, they're just trying to get by. You got the Murphys. I don't understand them at all. But then you have Evie.
Yep. She's the firecracker.
She is so random.
Mm-hmm.
She plays the little perfect daughter at home, wears her
Softball.
glasses. I've got to go to choir practice. Is singing in the choir.
Oh, by the way, a
Softball with
song
her
that
dad.
she sang was written by Tom Perrotta, the lyrics.
Oh, look at you, Tom. Nice job. In Miracle. So to the naked eye, she's a great little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she's
off doing hood rat stuff.
Yeah, straight up asking Jill, like, did your mom bang a black guy?
No. Did she fuck a black guy?
Oh, yeah, she used an even worse word. You're right. And then, acting all sassy to Dr. Goodhart. And
Mm-hmm.
then this whole bit. It happened so quickly that I hope nobody missed it. Of her and her friends running around like they're doing some druid's dance.
In the daylight,
Mm-hmm.
naked. Just boobies flopping everywhere.
I was looking at those boobies and I was like, you girls are lucky that your boobs are so small that they can do that. Because if I did that, I actually streaked once in college. It was like my big rebellious thing. I think I only streaked like from the top up. Anyway.
I can't believe you just told that story.
It was, you do it as a senior. It was like a big thing. Like you do it as a senior at URI. You streak the quad. You're supposed to run across the quad naked. And we did it. I think I already graduated at this point. But
so you just did it for fun because you wanted to?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I did. And I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable with the people that I was with. So I didn't want to go completely naked. So I just did it topless with everyone else. but things are just swinging around too much. I'm a little chesty, for those of you who don't know. I had to hold on tight those girls. The guy that was running behind me, he said at first he just saw them go side to side.
Okay, all right. Whoa.
So
Time out.
I'm just saying.
You're a married woman, all right? Come on, let's let this go.
So I'm just saying. Watching those girls run through the fire, I was like, you small-chested girls, good for you. I would not be able to frolic.
Wish I could do that.
I would not
No,
be
you
able
could
to hang.
frolic, but you couldn't sprint.
I could sprint with my hands holding on. Holding on tight.
Oh, God.
Or I'd be that girl like naked except in a bra.
Oh, my God.
I'm streaking.
And I have to do this because my boobs flop too much.
Oh, you girls with your small boobs.
Here-
Anyway,
here's
it just
I'm going to leave my analysis for that to the sudden theory of the week because I got a freaking awesome sudden theory of the week about this. So, but really in the end, I loved the interaction between the Garveys and the Murphys at the party. You could tell that they were sizing each other up. And Kevin, oh my freaking God, Kevin staring off into this guy's family room.
Oh, yes.
And he has the cut on his forehead, like a big freaking cut, right?
Is the deer back?
Is the deer back, right? Did he get headbutted by a deer? Or is he seeing and hearing the voices that his dad heard in last season, that you knew that he was starting to hear?
Yeah.
Is he now seeing these people?
Are those voices saying, get the F out of this house?
I know, like, come on, girl. Boy, like, you know better than this.
You got that going on.
So I wonder how intertwined these families are going to be.
Well, they're next door neighbors.
Yeah, but it's going to be more than that. I think they're going to be hand in hand in this story going forward. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was the first season about the Garveys. Is it their saga to tell? Probably. But I think just as equally, it will be the Murphys, too, oddly enough.
And you know what I love? The cricket.
Yes, what did you think of the cricket?
I was disappointed when Michael said he thought he heard it under a dishwasher or wherever, because I really didn't want anyone else to be able to hear it. Mm-hmm. I like that Erica is deaf. Because I want him to be like, oh, I don't know, like I wasn't wearing my hearing aids. Maybe it's somewhere around here. Like I wanted John to hear something. I wanted John to have some animal kind of thing, just like how Kevin had, the deer.
Yeah, but isn't that the cricket?
Yes, except Michael can hear it.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand.
So I was upset when Michael was like, oh yeah, it's over there. I heard it. Maybe he was lying. I don't know. But I want the cricket to be, another kind of animal-like force that really messes with a man.
Yeah.
Did the dog move in? I forget. Did we see a dog?
You didn't see the dog, but we do know the dog is there because we've seen the dog in pictures.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably going to be next episode.
Okay.
That the dog will be there.
All right.
And, the cricket for me worked. It worked because it's something that's haunting John. It's something that is really pissing him off. It's something that is out of his control. It keeps nagging at him and gnawing at him, and he's staying up. I really liked that a lot. But then we get to the big kicker, right? We get to the big, huge freaking kicker. The girls, the friends pick up Evie. They go off. A big earthquake happens. A picture of Evie and the brother falls down on the mantle. And Evie is gone.
And all the water's gone. And
fish are flopping around everywhere. And what the hell happened? What the hell happened to this water? Is the water special? That's the thing. I think it'd be too elementary to say that the Garveys showed up so now Jarden is fighting back because the Garveys showed up and it takes the water away so nobody can drink it. But did the water just go away because it's part of an earthquake?
Did the girls have anything to do with the water disappearing?
Correct, because if you remember when they were at the water in the beginning of the episode, they have this big sign that says, water can't be, no visitors, only residents of Jarden only, you can't take it out. And on the sign it says, a big spray painting, it says no fare, right?
I thought what was more impressive at that scene was actually the girls driving home. I mean, at the water, they were all like, yay, ha, 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 so fun. And the car ride home, they were stoic.
Mm-hmm. Like, nothing. No music, nothing. It was just, it was almost apathetic, right? You know, it was just kind of there. And I think they showed that for a very specific reason too. And I'm going to hold off on this.
Okay.
For a reason. But, you know, another thing that struck me too is you have Evie disappearing and the car is locked, by the way. Music is going on. That means the car is on, which means the keys are in the car. The car is locked. How the hell did they get out? Right? Unless the only thing I could think of is that they had the key in the car, they left it running, and they got out, and then they had the beep beep thing.
Like a second key.
Like a second key, like a key fob, and then they beeped it, and they left the car running. I mean, that's a possibility. That's a distinction, too. She left her phone there so the father could see it. But John, at the end of the episode, is screaming out Evie's name the same exact way that the mother did in the first season when her baby went missing. Remember? Yes. Sam! Sam!
You just woke up our baby.
I did. Sorry, because I was screaming Sam. I startled the hell out of her. Yep. Arms went flailing and everything. I'm a really awful dad.
It's okay.
It's the sacrifices I make for the listeners.
I still
waking up my kid.
Yep.
So in the end, did the water, the mystery, do you think that is enough to keep the season going?
Yeah.
And does it work for you? Does it capture your attention?
Yes.
Like, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
And now that we've discovered the Murphys, does that work for you now too? Like the way that they introduced them, the way that they were brought in, does that work for you too? Because it's jarring to go from one family to the next with no buffer. Like you just, bam, you were right in the middle of this brand new family.
Yeah.
And does that work as a storytelling device for you?
Had they not had the Garveys come in at all this episode, no, it wouldn't have. But we're in a new place. I like that it was established without them. We're not looking through the Garveys' lens. And I like that. I like that we're looking through the Murphys' lens.
Correct.
And I like that a lot.
Because the Murphys are wholly special to Miracle.
And from what it seems from the coming up next week, maybe it'll be from the Garveys' end. We're going to see a lot more from them. But I just... if I didn't have the Garveys in this episode, it would have been a lot harder for me to swallow. I did get them, so I'm happy about it. I'm pumped. I want to know more. I'm afraid of John. I'm afraid of Evie. I just don't like anyone but Michael and Dirty Santa.
Oh, speaking of Dirty Santa, I forgot about this. Another Lost connection. He sends off a letter to Sydney.
42 Wallaby Way?
Yeah.
Escape.
He sends it off to Sydney, which is obviously another Lost connection because Sydney was where the Oceanic Flight 815 was coming from, going to...
Oh, I was thinking he was going to write it to Dr. Goodhart.
No. Actually,
He sent it Australian.
Damn it, I can't remember the name of the guy that he was sending it to, and I remember I even wrote it down, and I can't find it. So we're just gonna have to put that in the next segment for the next episode of what we forgot. So okay. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. But now, my love, it's time to get into listener feedback. You ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
On Facebook, we have Rafe Collins Jr. says, I think one of the most difficult things about The Leftovers is that you have to tell the difference between what might be serving as a metaphor and what's just a red herring or meaningless. And I'm not really sure I know. I mean, what the heck? WTF, I'm not going to swear. WTF with a bird. I think the cricket stands for the splinter in the minds of the people who are completely awake. They know something's wrong, even in this town, but they can't get at it.
Russell McVicker says, I'm guessing John is not only fire chief, but some kind of hush-hush town police, where if someone is making a dime off the town reputation and not giving these good old boys a piece of the action, he takes them down, even a friend from grade school. Great idea, Russell. I love that.
Nina Matilda Rivo, is that how I'm saying it?
Rovo?
It's a lot of vowels.
It's French.
I think we're being shown how much we depend on each other and how quickly we can lose it all for whatever reason, that we have a hard time letting go of the past. We look for spiritual understanding to cope Cave girl finds feather and bird flying overhead, and yet life goes on. And just as the baby is found by another, Nora, too, finds a baby and a new life begins.
Oh, very nice. On Twitter, we have Missy Schmidt-Ducat saying, I feel that season 1 carried the weight of not letting everyone forget, which would make sense because of the guilty remnant. While I feel season 2 will be about what happens if you dare to remember. At least in Miracle. We shall see.
Ruben Ruiz says, I just got swallowed because of the earthquake. I wonder if the girls got swallowed too.
Tanner says The Leftovers season 2 premiere was the best season 2 premiere in the history of season 2 premieres. And I think I would probably agree with you on that one.
Mike Patterson, well, that season 2 premiere of The Leftovers was about as abstract an hour of TV as I've ever seen. Looking forward to watching it play out.
I'm not sure if I really agree with that, by the way. I think it was pretty pointed in what we were trying to do. I don't see how abstract it was, although the cold opening could be taken as though that was. Jan says, season 2 almost seems like a completely different show. Interesting in its own right, but almost like much of season 1 never happened. And again, I would disagree. The Garveys showed up, and you can only imagine that the baggage that they carried from season 1 is definitely there. You see that with Kevin when he's looking at the couch.
Charles C. Tesley, boy, is the new Leftovers opening credit sequence a massive upgrade over season 1. And Skip 17, so the first 11 minutes of The Leftovers was better than the whole The Fear the Walking Dead season. Just in 11 minutes, it was better.
I think I would concur with this one. We watched The Fear the Walking Dead, and it was very mediocre. Stacey McDonald says, thanks to The Leftovers, my dreams were bonkers and I overslept.
Michael Clear, I tell you though, living on top of a tower in my own filth while people bring me food sounds like a sweet life.
Well, I think Dirty Santa would agree with you.
Oh my God. Lady Solitaire, you brought up a great point that I didn't even get to talk about. Said that girl's watering the plants in the lawn wearing a wedding dress. Must have been laundry day.
What the hell was that about?
That was random.
Oh, speaking of that, by the way, the big cracks in the road being covered in plastic cases.
Yeah.
What the hell? Are those ripples? Like, because the guy said, the damn tremors, at least they give us, they play into the
mystique.
The mystique of the place. It's got to be from those things, which makes me wonder. It's almost like the crack in the wall. Remember in the Garveys at the Best, there was a big crack in the wall at the Garveys house, and you knew things were screwed up?
Yeah. Same
thing here, I think. Flirtissa Williams. Wow, great name, Flirtissa. So Jerry just going to come out and slit a goat's throat in the middle of the diner? Oh, another day that ends in Y, I guess. Daniel Puckett says, aren't you glad The Leftovers isn't a Netflix series? We just stayed up all last night binge watching if it were. I totally would have done that. I binge watched Bloodline in like 2 days. Lisa Branch says, after watching The Leftovers, it seems like everything else is just a waste of time. I'm enchanted.
And Jen Hammond, our last tweet, The Leftovers is my uncomfortable watch of the day. Yikes. They take cool shit like birds or running naked and just creep it out.
Well, my love, it is time for the voicemails. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Hey guys, it's Missy. I'm so glad you guys are back. I'm so excited about this whole new season. I was just so ecstatic about the premiere. So I just want to talk real quick about what I thought. I'm going to start with the intro. Whoa. It was beautifully handcrafted. I didn't expect it to start out like that. It was just like totally off the map for me. I was questioning for a minute, like, am I watching The Leftovers right now? Yes. Okay. So, but it was brilliant and thought-provoking. It brought me to the National Geographic Minoan article. Such a connection there. So if you haven't read it, you have to. Okay, and what about that crack in the road that's like encased in that glass structure? I immediately fell in love at first sight with that. I love the way they're going with this. The earthquakes, they're really enforcing that apocalyptic consciousness and how powerful it is, because it's real, it's realistic. So, the Murphys, I love Kevin Carroll's role as John Murphy. He instantly came off as scary and intimidating. And Erica Murphy, her loss of hearing, it brought some foreshadowing in for me, And Evie's epileptic episode, that was chilling. That was frightening to see. So let's just say the Murphys had me at hello. What about that goat killing scene? Whoa. I mean, who does that? Slits a goat's throat in a restaurant when everybody's like having their bacon and egg special. That was crazy. Okay, and I could keep going. There's so much to talk about, but back to the earthquakes. These moments are happening daily, if not several times a day. You know, we don't know. But the fact is, there are earthquakes happening, and this does not look like a safe place at all. So I'm going to leave the Pillar Man talk for the other fans to call in and talk about, because, like I said, I could keep going, and there's just so much to soak in just 1 hour after waiting so long. But in conclusion, guys, Evie's disappearance, it involves the crack in the ground where the river was, or, you know, the lake, and most likely where the water and possibly she fell through. So last but not least, let's not forget how Max Richter's score is very much still dominating and amplifying our emotions.
Missy, thanks so much for calling in. As a matter of fact, you'll be able to find Missy as she is the head writer and editor-in-chief of the Living Reminders blog. So you'll be able to find her and all of her articles there. And thank you. Actually, you mentioned this thing of the cold open where you were like, am I watching The Leftovers? I felt the same exact way. It was really nuts. It just was completely bonkers. It was. But yeah, it definitely lets you believe that it was almost a mistake of why that was happening. Missy, thanks so much for calling in.
Hey, Mary and Blake, this is Scott from Louisville. I really am wondering whether those kids were a departure and whether they're going to have to change that sign at some point. I think it's really interesting that there were notices about not taking any of the water. And we know that at least the one daughter who disappeared was involved in taking water back, and her family selling some of that water supposedly as a souvenir. That's kind of a mystery. But overall, it was a great premiere. This is very Lost-like in the way that if you watch carefully, there's some Easter eggs, and there's a lot of visuals that should get you thinking. And, of course, the intersection of Nora coming in with the baby at the end, moving next door, kind of a new life, a new start, and then also her brother. Now we know it's her brother, Reverend Matt. All very interesting stuff. So I'm definitely going to be staying tuned for the next couple of weeks. And really same place I was after the first episode of season 1. Just so much to think about, so much to process, and cannot wait to hear your thoughts and the thoughts of others on the podcast. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm so glad, as always, when you call in. You always bring it on. I love your analysis. I would say that you have an interesting theory about the water and Evie, and she's drinking it, and the family is selling it, or at least Michael is selling it. It does make you wonder what the play is and why it's so important, why it was so conspicuous. But again, like I said earlier, I think I'm going to withhold my analysis for this for my sudden theory of the week. So I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Mary and Blake, what's going on? It's Mike Cassidy calling, all the way from Pennsylvania. Just wanted to get in touch with you guys about the premiere and the first podcast. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was an amazing episode last night. Just the way it started out, the prologue was incredible. Really felt like I was watching a different show than The Leftovers, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually okay with that because that felt a lot like Lost to me. Kind of reminded me of two things, like how season 2 opened up with the not opened up, but with when they showed the hatch, and but you didn't really know what was going on. Same thing here. We really didn't know what was going on when this opened, and also reminded me of Across the Sea when Across the Sea started. It's kind of like an origin story of Miracle, it seems like. So yeah, I'm all in, man, and I just like the way that now that Damon doesn't have a book that he has to follow, this is kind of took off the handcuffs a little bit, and he's able to go and do his thing and really write in some crazy stuff the way we know that he can. So yeah, I really enjoyed last night a lot. I said in my piece that I wrote for the blog, it's kind of like Damon is coming out with a new album, and it's all original material, whereas his last album was all cover songs because he had to cover what Tom had already written. But now he's kind of free to make his own music again, and from what I could tell last night, we're really going to like this music. So I appreciate it, guys, and I'll be talking to you soon. All right, take care.
So as you heard from Mike, actually already, he will be on our blog as well. He's a writer on our blog, so you'll be able to hear everything, and including the article that he just mentioned about Damon and covering his own and bringing out his own material. And Mike, you actually mentioned this earlier, and I think it's great. The fact that Damon is now allowed to play in his own material and play in his own world. I mean, along with Tom Perrotta, let's not get that twisted. This is his world too. So they both work together on this. But I would say that you're right. You know, the handcuffs have been taken off. Let's let Damon do the batshit crazy stuff that he is good at doing. And not just him, but the other writers that they have surrounding him too. They can do the things that they need to do. And the fact that HBO allows them to do what they need to do speaks volumes about the kind of show that it is, the kind of show that HBO wants it to be, and the kind of programming that HBO is willing to put out. So you know what we're getting is the best to their ability. So, Mike, a fantastic point. Please read Mike over at the livingreminders.blog.blogspot.com, or just go to livingreminders.com and hit the tab that says blog.
I am still kind of reeling from the first season. I had to blow through it in about a weekend, but I enjoyed it so much. And what I loved about the premiere was that it appears very much that they're trying to set up this town as a kind of Garden of Eden. You have the imagery at the beginning with the woman giving birth. It's kind of setting up this idea of a cradle of life. As my history teacher, very bad history teacher in high school, used to always say, a cradle of civilization. And he said it like that every time, and it was really annoying. But that's what it reminded me of. What I found interesting, it's all kinds of biblical imagery in regards to animals, and of course we have the cricket standing in for his conscience. But what I found really kind of intriguing was at the end, one, I don't know what happened to the water, but at the end, what I think they're setting up is the reason that no one has departed from this town is because people have departed, but anyone who is missing someone was also kind of disappeared, so that no one reported anyone missing. That is my theory. It's a little jumbled right now. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.
Now, I know who this is, and I know who this is because this is Kendra, and Kendra is an all-star on our Outlander cast. As a matter of fact, she has her own segment, the Kendra Thought of the Week. And, girl, thank you so much for calling in, but this is just a notice for everybody else. When you call in, just tell us your name and let us know where you're from, just so we can give you the proper credit, like we've always said. We want to make sure you guys know exactly who you're talking to and who you're listening to, and that's important to us. So I think Kendra was under the gun a little bit there, because she did go through the entire season in the weekend, actually based on my recommendation, because she too is going to be an author on the Living Reminders blog. So all these people that you're hearing call and everything, you will be able to read all of their articles on the Living Reminders blog. I know I keep saying it, and it's a broken record, but how cool is that, right? These are just people, regular people who call in, and Kendra was brand new to The Leftovers last weekend, the beginning of last weekend, and she only watched it because she wanted to participate, and she obviously loves it. But How amazing is that? And this is our community. This is the community that we have developed together as podcast and listeners. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. Otherwise, I wouldn't know Kendra, and my life would suck. So thank you. Thank you, Kendra, for calling in.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Christine. Blake, you reached out to me on the Leftovers chat and wanted to know what I thought happened to the water at the end of the first episode in season 2. And unfortunately, I don't even know if I can begin to understand what happened. However, I thought the whole episode, I was thinking back to the National Geographic issue that they mentioned in the previous season. And as I was going through here, I saw a lot of things that I did not see the first time, as well as a lot of glaring similarities between the Yellowstone articles and the Town of Miracle, including people being the problem of the park and having issues with all these people coming into the park with the coming in by buses and kind of ruining the beauty that once was. And that's sort of the same impression I got when I watched the episode, as well as some of the images in this issue have almost, if you put them right next to me or next to images in the show, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell the difference which was where. So I thought that was pretty neat. And I also noticed that one of the captions in one of the images where there's people sitting next to the water, similar to the Native American lady sitting next to the water with a baby, the caption is "Solace for Tired Feet." And I did not catch that the first time, but that was obviously an episode title in the previous season, and that's what kind of drew me to these Yellowstone articles. And my only other thought could be something to do with these underwater spiders. Originally, we thought they had some relation to do with Wayne, but the spiders drag the females underwater and do their business with them before kind of creating a battle and this violent thrashing. So I don't know if maybe there's some relation to the girls possibly going under into an underwater cavern or being pulled under the water in some way. And then there's a violent thrashing, i.e. the earthquake. I'm not sure. But those are my thoughts. So yeah, thanks so much, and I'm excited for this season and your guys' take on season 2. It seems like it's going to be an interesting ride. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Wow, Christine, thank you so much for calling in. We did chat on the Leftovers chat. By the way, if you guys just can't get enough of the Leftovers, there is this really cool chat on Facebook, a Facebook group called the Leftovers Chat, and you can ask to be in the group, and there's literally thousands of people in this group who talk about the Leftovers, and I am part of it because I'm a huge giant nerd, and I'm glad that Christine called. And this is usually what I reserve the time to comment on whatever the caller says, but you know what? I'm just going to let this stand in the ether because what you did was freaking amazing, and I can neither summarize it nor make it better. So I will say to you, bravo, Christine. Excellent job. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, thank you so much for those voicemails. As always, we appreciate every single minute that you spend calling into the show. Thank you for allowing us to put your voice on it. We'd love to hear from you guys, so please keep calling the hotline after each show, 503-454-6730. But now it's time for a new segment of the show. It's the Brian Davids Thought of the Week. And Brian Davids is from the Film Schlubs podcast. He is a author on our blog and will be contributing every single week to our show. So here it is.
Mary and Blake, this is Brian Davids of the Film Schlubs podcast. Thank you again for the platform to blog and rant about all things The Leftovers. Basically, you're letting me run naked through the living reminders forest, and I couldn't be more grateful. As Blake has likely revealed by now, we developed a theory where Evie faked her own disappearance. I think this was part of an elaborate plan to also release the water, a plan that Michael is also involved with based on their water sharing system early in the episode. Evie would bottle water from the spring for Michael to give out to tourists. This shows me that they wanted to share this presumably mystical water with everyone, not just the residents, and that they don't agree with how their parents and town exclude everyone from this special place. This is evident at the spring, as you can see a no fare tag written across a residents only, visitors prohibited sign. Don't forget, Erica told the story of Evie and Michael overflowing the bathtub when they were 5 or 6 years old, as they wanted to know what would happen. Erica compared Evie to Moses, so why wouldn't she become a Moses-like figure in this case too? Disappearing is how she can make that possible. So we understand why Michael and Evie would want to release the water for everyone to enjoy its power or gift. But how do we know Evie faked her disappearance, and why? First off, John was watching a TV show about Mark Lynn Baker of Perfect Strangers faking his departure. Of all the characters the writers could pick to watch a show with this topic, they pick a character who was about to discover that his own daughter had supposedly disappeared. Number 2, which sparked this theory, Evie and friends were shown running naked through the forest, likely near the spring, as a rehearsal of sorts for their fake departure. I first said to Blake that this scene could be post-departure, and it's simply out of sequence. Then Blake countered that it could be practice for a stage departure. That led me to connecting the Markland Baker connection and so on. But keep in mind, she was at choir practice before the running scene and then softball practice afterwards. Why not get all your practice activities done in a row? She's efficient. Let's not forget a very important moment during the coffee shop scene as a man sacrificed a goat in front of everyone. And while a goat is not a lamb per se, it tells me that Evie is the sacrificial lamb of this story since she disappears at the end of episode 1. In TV, when you end episode 1 with a major death or disappearance, in this case, it is usually meant to create a call to action for our protagonist, which could be Michael or Matt Jameson, but likely Kevin Garvey. Matt and the Garveys are the last people Evie met before disappearing. More importantly, the sacrificial lamb exposes how evil the villain is. That villain, John Murphy. By disappearing and releasing the water from Miracle, it shows people that Miracle is no longer special, even if it really is, which undermines everything John and Erica have tried to control through fear and tyranny. But why would Evie do this along with Michael? Her father went to jail for 6 years during their childhood for attempted murder, so missing out on that time was bound to create some resentment. And then he comes home and begins causing tyranny in their community by booting people from their homes, burning them down in some cases. He was also part of the reason why so many people weren't allowed to stay there for too long unless they bought or rented a house. As they got older, I'm sure they later figured out the economic impact that the town's limited entry created. Plus, they probably got tired of him always trying to eat their bacon. We know Michael wants to help people like the Pillar Man, and that he goes to secret prayer meetings with Virgil, played by Stephen Williams. Remember, Michael and Evie are religious, and they're inclined to help others, so the weight of their parents' sins likely became too much for them to handle. So they had to do something about it. Yes, Erica is guilty, as she showed no compassion for Isaac after John burned his house down, and she didn't even bother to stop and observe the destruction John caused as she ran by it. So Michael and Evie released the water into the world so others could benefit from it, since Miracle no longer deserves it given the terror they caused to others. By faking her disappearance, Evie puts a stop to her father's evil ways, as a disappearance ruins his entire justification for doing what he does. I even think Evie faked her episode during dinner, since we saw her take her meds when drinking the spring water that morning. I have to stress that it's not about whether the town is truly special or not. It's how we treat a town like this and how we govern it. John and Erica are treating it like an exclusive country club and won't allow anyone into that town that they deem unworthy of its gift, or allow them to stay. It should be open to everyone, and we all deserve a safe haven like this as long as we treat it right. If God is testing everyone to see if they've learned anything from this departure, the governing body in Miracle is an obvious fail. Michael and Evie are now making up for the sins of their parents. And most importantly, there is one commonality that rings true if you know Damon Lindelof's writing as to why Evie would do this to her father. His characters almost always have daddy issues. John just couldn't leave her bacon alone. Look at how hard she was throwing those softballs during practice. Guys, please check out my first blog post over at the Living Reminders blog. at thelivingreminders.com. Let me know your thoughts. I compared John's cricket to Walter White's fly. I also posted a bunch of random theories, takes, and observations, such as the common thread among Damon's writing appearing in the cold opening, as a stranger ultimately raised another woman's baby. Guess what Nora's doing? Raising another woman's baby. Guess what Kevin did? Raise another man's son. Guess what Kate and Ben did on Lost? Also, I pointed out on Twitter last night that Evie Murphy and Lily Garvey is an homage to Evangeline Lilly. Jasmine Savoy Brown, who plays Evie, tweeted me that even she didn't know that. After all, Evie is short for Evangeline. I have a shameless but relevant plug for you guys. I was lucky enough to sit down with Leftovers Season 2 writer Patrick Somerville on my podcast, Film Schlubs. So search iTunes or go to filmschlubs.com, that's SCH. He revealed some cool tidbits about their writing process as well as about Damon. I want to close by saying that the handprint on the Mercedes is going to be huge. That's the first thing I noticed when the disappearance scene came to be. And we just so happen to meet a character who reads handprints. All in all, I thought this was a terrific premiere, and I cannot wait for the upcoming episodes. I think we have some phenomenal stuff coming. So until next week, I'm Brian Davids, and you can follow me on Twitter at BDF331.
Thank you, Brian. I cannot wait for the rest of what you have to offer us for the rest of the year. My love, it's now the Tweet of the Week time. And you know what's special about this Tweet of the Week?
What?
Every person that wins the Tweet of the Week will get a $20 gift card.
$20 gift card to where?
To the Tag Your It Etsy shop. So if you go to www.tagyourit.biz, if you are the Tweet of the Week winner, you will get $20 towards any item on that Etsy shop that you can think of. $20 for free just because you tweeted out something cool. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
All right, let's do it. This week's Tweet of the Week is from Crochet Da Giant. She says, I hope the daughter show is back up so Kevin can join her naked running club. Those jogging pants of his are so restricted.
And so distracting. Oh, I forgot about the
naked
pants.
running club.
Nice job.
Oh my God.
Crochet Da Giant.
Crochet Da Giant.
You got yourselves
$20 gift card, and you are the Tweet of the Week.
Woohoo!
So thank you very much. That was running pants was great. So make sure you go to tagyourit.biz for your $20 gift card. My love, it's time for the sudden theory of the week. Do you have a sudden theory?
I just dropped them all out there. I dropped them as I came.
Yes, you did. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
You ready for my sudden theory?
Yes.
Okay, my sudden theory is that the girls faked their departure. They faked it.
Just like the Growing Pains. Is it, what show did they always make fun of?
Oh, Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers. Growing Pains. What the hell?
That was another thing we forgot too. Oh my God, we are so rusty.
Just like him.
Remember, the joke all season, last season, was the whole entire cast from the Perfect Strangers departed.
Yeah, and that he's actually hiding.
And that this guy is actually in hiding. So how funny is that? And that's what tipped me off to this whole thing, right? And Brian Davids and I had actually talked about this, going back and forth a little bit about this sudden theory. So we both take credit for it. It makes me wonder if these girls did fake it because they saw that this guy faked his departure, and you can tell that they're not happy, right? The girls are not happy, and we talked about that scene where just nothing happened. It was just silence in the car on the way home. I think that it was like that because they're miserable on the way back home. They don't think it's fair that visitors can't come and stay in Jarden. You can tell that Michael doesn't like what his father's doing, and you can tell that as they were singing the song in choir, they thought it was kind of bullshit.
Miracle.
Like they were smiling at each other like, oh my God, this is so fucking dumb.
Oh, I thought they were having fun singing.
No, not everyone's like you, my love. Not everyone just bursts out. And what's the song from Frozen?
Which one?
The main one. The one that everybody loves.
Let it go.
Yes. Nobody just bursts out singing Let It Go like you. in the middle and smiles throughout the whole time.
Which one?
Because she knows the entire soundtrack. So I think that they faked their departure because they know everything is a bunch of bullshit in this town. And they don't like how it's being run. And they want to expose the town. They want to expose the dad. They want to expose the mom. They want to. Everyone's making money on this place hand over fist. And they're done. And the scene that they show them running through the woods naked, I think is because that is that was like practice for what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was practice for what was going to happen.
Where are the clothes?
So they took the clothes off and they said, we're going to leave the clothes here or whatever. And we're going to run through the woods naked. And they're just, boobies are flying everywhere because they faked their departure. Ooh. So you can bet your bottom dollar there, kiddo, that this one's right.
Please hang up and try again.
Well, my love, I think it is time to close out the show. But we wanted to remind you that episode 20 of the Living Reminders, what you just listened to, was brought to you by the Foxy Hipster Etsy Shop. It's a place where you can... we should play Jimi Hendrix over this. Damn it.
Foxy.
A place where you can purchase unique earrings and pins that are customized to any of your favorite fandoms, from John Locke's face to Ron Swanson's glorious freaking man mustache from Parks and Rec. And yes, even Kevin Garvey's beautiful visage. You can have nearly anything that you want. So please visit the owner, Amy, of Foxy Hipster
at www.etsy.com/shop/thefoxyhipster.
Thank you for reading that, but I was hoping you were going to go, Foxy.
Oh, you pointed at me and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll read.
I know, but I thought you were going to go, Foxy.
Foxy.
All right, let's just cue the music.
The conversation does not end here, folks, okay? You got to hear a lot of our tweets, Facebooks, voicemails, all this kind of stuff. We want to continue the conversation with you on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please find us. Our handles are Living Reminders.
And if the social media ain't enough for you, you can reach us on the email machine at livingreminders@gmail.com. And we love your emails. Please send them.
Our website is thelivingreminders.com. You can find all of our previous episodes, those interviews we were talking about, and much more.
Also on that website, you can find a little button at the top, and it's a tab. It says support. And there's a bunch of different ways you can support the Living Reminders. You can go to Patreon and donate $1 or $2. You can review us on iTunes. But the most important thing you can do for a free podcast like ours is tell a friend. If what we do here provides value for you, and you love The Leftovers, and you love our show, and what we do in analyzing it and making fun of it is special to you, tell a friend. That is the best thing you can do for us.
Speaking about telling a friend, head on over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a rating and reviewing if you found this episode fun. And that way, other people who watch the show, they'll get to learn about this podcast, and they will continue the conversations.
If you can't get enough of Mary and Blake, and you can't get enough of the Living Reminders, we actually have a blog. It's written by the Leftovers fans and for the Leftovers fans. You can find that blog at thelivingreminders.com on the little tab that says blog, or you can go to livingremindersblog.blogspot.com, and you'll be able to find all different kinds of great articles about the Leftovers, what it means to other certain people. It's just a lot of fun over there. And
it is.
It's written by the fans for you guys. You guys have a voice. That's the whole idea behind this podcast. And if you want to get more of the Leftovers and podcasts, speaking of that, please, we always recommend the Guilty Remnant podcast or the Leftovers with Jay and Jack. Those are our favorite other podcasts. So if what we do here, you don't like it or you think it sucks, go visit them. And they're really smart, much smarter than us. And I'm sure that they would provide a good entertainment for you guys.
Until next time, ladies and gents, I'm Mary Larson.
My name's Blake.
And we're still here.